All right, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to say Shalom to the elect that sees his word on true faith and sincerity. And today I just want to get into a lesson on pretty much how now is the time. These things are set to be fulfilled, the prophecies. And we come into a major part of the scene, which is Jacob's trouble. And we're seeing the steps that's leading towards, this major event to take place, man. So I got this article from CBN News, and it reads, state law will release second-degree murder suspects without bail. And it says the end of days, see. So pretty much the purge, where you're going to have pretty much it's going to get bad, man. That's the best way I can put it. Evil and only evil. So as you can see, I believe this is in Illinois. As a matter of fact, let's see. Illinois. When a new Illinois law takes effect next year, it would do away with the cash bail system in the state, meaning suspects with charged with felonies, including second-degree murder, aggravated battery, and arson, will be released without bail. See? So, Scripture talks about a time like no other, man. And we seeing why now. See that this is the most wickedest place ever erected. So of course, the judgment has to match. So now you seeing that it's still being made to where you're going to have criminals to stay on the streets. It says the counter signal report the Safety, Accountability, Fairness, and Equity Today Act, also called the Safety Act, would end cash bail and includes 12 non-detainable offenses. Second-degree murder, aggravated battery, and arson without bail, as well as a drug-induced homicide, kidnapping, burglary, robbery, intimidation, aggravated DUI, aggravated fleeing and eluding, drug offense, and threatening a public official. See, all these are non-detainable offenses. It says when the law takes effect on January 1st, criminals charged with the crimes mentioned above will be released without bail. See, so just like GTA, you wreak all this type of havoc, and somehow you got detained. But then you right back on the streets wreaking havoc. Well, this is finna be reality, man. And it's only gonna get worse. But they said 2023, the year of hell, some of that nature. That this place is only gonna get worse. See, you don't see the grass being greener on the side of 2023 concerning America in this place, man. So-called white man in this system. We're at the end of it. This is Daniel 12:1, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, with standard for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So it's going to be a time of trouble that has never been seen on the planet Earth, to where it's going to have to take divine intervention to be delivered from these things, man. There's nowhere in history you can compare what's about to take place, or what's taking place in the climax to it, to any other time in history, man. What it says, matter of fact, let's get that in the book of Mark, I believe. Mark 13. Bear with me. Mark 13:19. For in those days shall there be affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the creation, which the Most High created unto this time, neither shall be. See? So this time of affliction, this time of trouble, is not going to be able to be compared to any other time, man. What happened in Egypt, 70 AD. What the Lord's going to do, this place is going to far outweigh those events, man. And that's why it's going to take the divine intervention. That's why I said Michael's going to stand up. The angels are going to get involved. Because this is going to be like the purge. Which is, I wouldn't be surprised eventually, they sign a law where it's a certain day of the year where, crimes are winked at pretty much. Because this is where it's heading towards. To where they winking at second-degree murder. What was the other, that last one, threatening a public official? That has been hot. You've been having a lot of different officials being threatened. I believe it was probably a year and a half, 2 years back, they was threatening plotting to kidnap one of the governors or something to that nature. But now these things are being winked at. Of course, this is a time, Yeah, so I'm going to read it again. Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to this same time. It says, and at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. See, and that's concerning the elect. Those are the ones that's going to be preserved from the said perils. And these said perils are going to come like a flood. It's going to be overwhelming. Not like you're going to be able to escape one plague and that's it. No, you're going to escape one plague and run to another one. That's why you read Amos the 5th chapter, it tells you a man flee from a lion or bare metal. He pretty much ran into a house, leaned his hand upon a wall, and a serpent bit him. So there's no escape. Lest Yahweh shall have mercy upon you. That's what we hope for, the Lord have mercy upon us, because we seeing that we are at the end. We seeing that this is the time the Lord is about to bring forth his wrath. And this was just in Illinois. But it's not going to stop there. So, matter of fact, let's get this in the book of 16. And one of the the end of that title of that article says, the end of days. It just shows you this is where we're at on this journey. Because what it said, the knowledge of the glory of the Lord shall be filled throughout the world. You ain't got no choice but to entertain the scriptures now. You ain't got no choice but to consider the end of the world. Just that phrase, the end of days, the end, is just that in itself. That's the spirit on the earth. Why? Because number one, Esau is in power. And he represents the end. And that's why that's the spirit on the earth, the end of days, the end of the world. And we seeing it, the end of this age, the end of the collapse of this man's system. 16 verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? See, so we in the beginning stages of bad times. And when something is at the beginning, that means it's going to grow into its perfection. It's going to come into its fullness. So we're going to actually see you know, these things play out in its perfection of its highest degree. The sorrows, the mourning, the famine. We finna see the famine at its height. That's why cannibalism is coming back in a major way. You know, the word death is a broad statement because we in a time where any and everything can kill you. You know, it was on a handful of things that you can die by in the ancient world, from by the way of a pestilence, or, you know, by the way of the sword, a wild beast, you know, a graven wound. But now, in this time, a light pole can fall on your head. You know, a car accident, the sword, the mechanical dogs. So that's why I say it's great death, because going back to that word great, it goes into its highest degree. So that's why in and everything is going to, it's you know, it's a weapon. It's at the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. And yeah, because ultimately, everything's going to, this place is going to be capped off by the way of war. You know, we're going to actually see the height of war, the height of the swords by the way of those missiles pelting this place, America. It says the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So we just in the beginning of these bad times. And it's only going to get worse. Now, you know, it's a law being passed where they're winking at, you know, these, you know, these offenses. And it's nothing like, you know, motherfuckers stealing some shit out the store. You know, there was a point where if it's less than $50, it's pretty much a slap on the wrist. These are major offenses that you get time for, you know. Going back, let's see what it says. The non-detainable offenses: second degree murder, aggravated battery, and arson without bail. See? Dealing with those fires. As well as drug-induced homicide. Nigga geeked up, you know, kill someone. Kidnapping, burglary, robbery, intimidation, aggravated DUI. So like it, aggravated fleeing and eluding. Drug offenses and threatening a public official. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Only thing we can do is hope that the Lord Yahweh Shema shall have mercy upon us. You know? Because it's here. It ain't like you can just, you know, go to sleep and wake up and it all be over with. No. That's why Lord, you know, compared this time to the days of Noah, because the only way to be preserved from these things is the flood. Is the ark. To be preserved from the flood, which the flood now is the overwhelming pledge the Lord is going to send. The spiritual ark, this truth, is what's going to keep us, man. Because you couldn't go to the highest part of the mountain. It tells you the waters exceeding the mountains. You couldn't build your ark because it was a certain blueprint. It was a certain pitch, a certain wood that you know, that was going to be able to withstand, you know, that flood, man. So it's by the way of this truth that the Lord's going to keep us. You know? Because these things are inevitable. It says, behold, see, meaning look. Because we see doing that now by the way of articles and videos and interviews. These different, you know, things that taking place on the planet Earth that we actually witnessing. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. See, because it's set up for us to consider before they really come to America. Because when they come to America, that's it. That's the last stop for the plagues. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn for their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. See, they're not going to consider. It says, behold, this shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. See? So the only thing that's going to happen is the evils are going to grow. It's only going to get worse. And we seeing this process. We seeing it get worse. You know, all this spirit, the digital identity, the C hip is on is in the scene. All the prophecies are pretty much here. So that's why we seeing everything is pretty much going downhill, for America. And that going back, it's going to get worse. And we seeing it. That's why the scripture say, behold, going back to I quoted earlier, Ezekiel 7, it says, behold, evil and only evil is come. So yeah, I just hope that we're edifying, like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect that teach word on true faith and sincerity. DTA, Baba Soon. Very soon.